Peace and blessings to everybody out there. I hope you are blessed, and I hope that the Most High is constantly working on you, because we already know that if you really a true warrior for the Most High and you got His Spirit up in you, His Ruach, then we already know that you're a warrior. Okay. Uh, I wanted to come on here just to give my testimony. I think it's something that's long overdue. And the reason why I'm looking off into the other direction is because I got a lot of distractions around me in this house. So the enemy is like trying to literally stop me from making this video. And I was gonna do a live originally, but what happened was that the microphone was mute. It was muted. So, and I knew that was actually done, by the enemy, of course. And come to find out, you can't even actually stream a live video. Well, I don't know if you can stream a live video in what is it, Microsoft Edge, Internet Explorer. I don't know if you can actually stream a live video from someone else's, but I know that you cannot go live from Microsoft Edge. And there's no plugins that you can actually find to try to go live through it. So you have to download Google Chrome, because of course YouTube and every other social media platform is connected to Google. So of course that gives them more access to control and monitor you, but anyways, let me just jump right into it. I wanted to just, I'm gonna talk about a few things first off. And one of the main things is that I've been fasting, and I'm not going to tell you how long I've been fasting, but it's been for quite some time, and I'm not going to eat actually, and no, I'm not starving myself. The reality is that I cannot eat, because this is a spiritual warfare. And if you don't know that by now, anyone who is, targeted at this hour, because this is the thing, and people who have been targeted for years too, you know what I mean, who are still getting targeted. People, you got to know this. If you literally are being targeted, know this. It's not going to end. As long as you are on a righteous path with the Most High, okay, and you're trying to do right, and as long as you are spewing His gospel, which is the truth, the personified truth, then you are going to be targeted, period, point blank. And 9 out of 10 times, you're going to, I rebuke this in the mighty name of Yahushua Ha'mashiak of Nazareth, but the reality is that a lot of us are going to have to die for our Savior. That's just it. And you got to be willing to accept that. I've accepted that. I'm willing to die for my Creator. Absolutely I am. Because the truth of the matter is that, He died for us. He died for us. So why is it that all of a sudden, just because I'm scared, or what, over some money? Y'all know what it is though. Anyways, uh, let me just get into my story, because I don't want to do that, because this is what it is. This is a testimony that I want to let you guys know that the Most High has took me and is still taking me on a whirlwind, and I'm so, I'm so full off of His glory, off of His word. It's amazing to me. But let me just say this. I was born into a wicked bloodline. My grandfather was a Mason. My mother's an Eastern Star, and more than likely she always been an Eastern Star to begin with. And I do believe that she is a witch. My grandfather is a warlock, and of course, if you are African American, or you call yourself African American, or black, Negro, whatever you want to call yourself these days. Well, yeah, the truth of the matter is that everybody's ancestors was doing witchcraft. Period, point blank. And we already know that. We already know this, right? We know this. This is in the Old Testament, and it talks about that, them doing witchcraft. Period, point blank. Now, the reality is that I had no idea about this. I knew that it existed, but I didn't know how close, the genealogy was to these witches and warlocks in my family. So I was kind of going on, just doing things that I thought was okay, not really knowing that what I was doing was actually witchcraft. And this is why we got to be mindful about what we do, what we say, what we hear, what we take in on a daily basis, because you wouldn't even know that you actually dipping and dabbing in witchcraft. And that's a problem, because anytime that you are not aware of what you're doing, then that means that you are literally giving access to the enemy to always have control over you, and to literally to manipulate you into doing whatever it is that the enemy wants you to do. Thus destruction. Now, going into my story about me being from a bloodline of Masons and Eastern Stars, who are witches and warlocks. I don't care what anybody say. If you want to get up on here, if you're a Mason and an Eastern Star and say, oh, we're not witches, we're not warlocks, we don't do any of this, we don't do any of that. Bottom line is that you have a covenant. You have a covenant, okay? And that is a covenant, period. It's whether you call it a sisterhood or a brotherhood, it is a covenant. And yes, you guys have an array of people from all different walks of life and religious backgrounds, which is even more reason why it's demonic. Because we already know what y'all do to people. We already know what you do to your kids. My grandfather did it to me. And my siblings, even though they choose to not acknowledge that and probably won't get it. So I don't care about that. But the reality is that I was a victim of sexual ritual abuse, SRA. And if anybody don't know what sexual ritual abuse is, I encourage you to go and look that up. Go and look up sexual ritual abuse, okay? Because the thing is that y'all need to understand that half of homosexuals, half of lesbians, and bisexual people too, and just people who have a perverse nature or this perverse spirit upon them has been molested. 95% of lesbians and homosexuals have been molested. Now, a lot of them don't actually know this. Well, some don't. Some know it, and then some choose to still do what they do because that spirit got them. It got them, period, point blank. And it is a spirit, so I don't even care if somebody want to come on here and debase me and say, oh, well, I was born this way, blah, blah, blah. No, you wasn't. You wasn't. I'm sorry, you wasn't. Period, point blank. And if you somebody who literally believe in biblical or scriptural texts, okay, then you know that it wasn't designed like that, because we all got here by way of vagina and penis, period. Okay, that's the only way that we actually all was born into here. That's the only way that you can actually reproduce is by way via penis and vagina, period. And we already can see this through the animals as well. It's just simple. It's simple to grasp that concept, okay? It's simple. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I had to pause the video for a little bit, so I know it's going to be like cut. But because, I had to go and scold my niece and nephew because they didn't want to do their homework. They arguing and bickering. But anyways, like I said, I was born into this wicked bloodline. Oh, you know what? No. I'm sorry. I was talking about the spirit of homosexuality, the perverse spirit. So like I said, it's a spirit, and people need to understand that. So if you don't understand that it's a spirit by now, then I don't know what is it going to take for you to actually understand it. Do you have to burn for you to understand it? I mean, I hope not. And I'm not, the Most High Father of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, I ask you to rebuke that, because I don't want that to happen. I'm telling you, I don't want that to happen. But you have to understand, the Most High established a foundation, okay? He created man, right? And he created woman. So, if he created man and woman, anything outside of that foundation, that establishment, is completely perverted. I don't care which way you try to turn it, which way you try to switch it, which way you try to make it sound like as if it makes sense. I don't care. And if you are somebody who are claiming to be homosexual, bisexual, or lesbian, or transgender, if you are somebody to actually claim to be that and love the Most High or have a relationship with God, I'm going to let you know that you're deceived, because the God that you worship, you ain't worshiping the same God that I'm worshiping. You ain't worshiping the same God that a lot of us are actually up here that's getting targeted are worshiping. There's no way that you can. You're worshiping Baal. You're worshiping Satan. And Satan got you thinking that you're worshiping God, because you got that emotional connection with him. And I'm not saying that you won't have that connection to the real Father. You can, but your spirit is tainted, so he's not going to listen to you. He's not going to listen to you. And then you still waddling in sin. I'm trying to help you. I promise you. It is a spirit, okay? Homosexuality is a spirit. So is lesbianism, transgenderism, all of that. Bisexuality, all of that. Pansex, all that stuff they're coming up with now. It's all a spirit. Because we already know that's what the enemy wants to do. The enemy hates any and everything that lives and breathes, that was created by the Most High to live and breathe on his command. And the thing is that we was created as well. And it's so funny that the Most High created everything that liveth and breatheth on his command, right? In terms of the foundation of the heavens and the earth. It worships him. And it doesn't argue. It doesn't argue. When the tree gets cut down, it's not sitting up there arguing with the Creator saying, oh, why did you let this happen to me? No. You know what it's going to do? It's going to keep growing unless it gets uprooted. It's going to keep growing unless it gets uprooted. So it never stops. It never stops giving praise to the Most High. It never stops. So why we can't do that? Huh? Why is it so hard for us to do that? It's so hard for us to repent. It's so hard for us to obey. And it's hard. I get it. It's hard. But you're going to have to come out of that. Period. If you want to be saved, you need to come out of her. Come out of her, he said, thus saith the Most High. Come out of her. Come out of Babylon. Come out of iniquity. Come out of perdition. This is not a game. And y'all think it's a game. But you're going to see. Now, like I said, I was born into a demonic bloodline. Very demonic. I mean, Masons and Eastern Stars, I don't care what nobody say. Like I said, if you want to get on here and come with your little chicanery and your little philosophies, this and that, because I done been through all of it. I done weaved through all of that crap. I done studied so many different religions, so many different spiritualities and all of that. And that's what the enemy wanted me to do. I mean, well, actually, no, I'm not going to give the enemy no credit, because the Most High, in the end, wanted me to go through all that so that he can use me for this moment. Period, point blank. He can use me for this moment. And I'm not going to be moved. I'm not going to be moved. Period. So I say bring it. Because I'm ready. This is a spiritual warfare. I don't have to fight with you physically. I'm just going to go in the spirit. I'm just going to go in the spirit. Now, like I said, I was a victim of SRA. And that's what they do to kids. Okay? The Masons and the Eastern Stars. Because they so money hungry to the point where they'll sell their kids out for $1. Literally. Everybody, you should know this by now. Now, I was sexually ritually abused, and it was a sexual identity that was forced upon me. Thus, homosexuality. I went off to live a homosexual lifestyle for pretty much almost all of my life. You know what I mean? And the reality is that it started at a very young age. I knew that something wasn't right. Now, I didn't understand the concept of homosexuality, because it was never talked about in my household to the degree where I understood it. You know, it was just like, oh, you know, everything was kind of like in binaries. Don't do that, that's gay. Don't do that, that's boys don't do that. You know what I mean? And then you got to understand something. I didn't have my father in my life like that, so that also plays a role in it too. You know, when you don't have that male figure in your life to delegate and to show you the way and to correct you. And the truth of the matter is that, you know, I went on throughout life really believing that this was truly who I was, not really knowing that I was molested like multiple times And I was being groomed for the industry. And what I mean by that is that I lived in Hollywood back in 2000. I lived in Hollywood from 2011 to 2012. But I would still commute and go to Hollywood even after that, just to go and take classes, just to go and meet up with my handler. That was my handler at the time, because I actually met her when I moved to Hollywood to go to this conservatory art school. And I'm not going to say the name. I'll let you go ahead and, do your research and try to figure out which one it is, because I don't want to give them any praise. But I'm going to let you know this. Hollywood, it's not what you think. It's not what you think. And if y'all don't know that by now, well, you got to go just to figure that out. You got to go just to figure it out. But if you don't know that by now, then I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And what you have to understand is that you need to protect your children at all costs. You need to protect them at all costs. Because I'm telling you something. The enemy wants your children. They want your children. Period, point blank. So let me get back to my story. I went to this school. Now keep in mind, I didn't have the finances to actually go to that school. My grandfather endorsed the loan. And I want you to keep that in mind too. He endorsed the loan for me to go because my mother didn't qualify for the Parent Plus loan. So he endorsed it. Now, there's no way that I would have actually gotten into that school. And I know some people are probably like, oh, well, you got into it because he endorsed the loan. No, I got into the school because of my last name. That's the reality. And that's what you have to understand. This is how the elite works. So if you have money, the only way that I would have been able to get into that school is unless I had money or I had the last name. Meaning that I had a last name that was connected to the bloodline, the elite, the Freemasonic bloodline. Or royal bloodline, whatever the heck y'all want to call it. That was the only way I was able to get into that school. Because they saw me as a conduit for demon possession. And that's what you need to understand. All they want to do is just taint your gifts. That's it. All they want to do is taint your gifts. That's all they want to do. Is taint your gifts and stick a demon in you. Fracture your mind, splice it. You end up having all types of mental disorders, which is really spirits. That's all it is. And people need to get that. Mental health is a spirit, mind-binding spirits that we're dealing with, period, point blank. So if you don't understand that, then you need to get that in your head. Because psychology, I believe, was most certainly constructed and designed only to tame the spirits. That's it. It was designed to literally tame the demons. That's it. That's the reason why they have medicine, which is also witchcraft, and it also helps maintain the demonic possession. That's why they don't want you to fast or pray. You see what I mean? They don't want you to fast or pray. So that's what the deal is. I went to that school, and it's so sad because, I was so lost. And a lot of it has to do with what they did to me as a kid, and the fact that I didn't have my father, and there's no telling what my mother did because, she was on drugs too. But hey, I'm not here to dish out her dirt, but she ain't her veil ain't squeaky clean either. That's all I'm saying. It ain't squeaky clean either. And she knows what she's been doing too. So the reality is that I was in such a dark place. So the enemy already had access to me because of what already had been done to me, because of the sexual identity, hypersexual, perverse spirit that was literally selected for me. That's why I say identity, homosexuality. And I went out to literally just be this promiscuous dude. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I ever did anything strange for a little piece of change. I didn't do that. I ain't never sold my body or anything like that. Now I'm going to just keep it real because I believe in being see-through. I believe in that. Because the only way that I can be see-through, I can help people. Because people need to understand that. You have to be transparent. And when you get to that point in life with the Most High, He's going to allow you to be transparent. He's going to allow you to be transparent. And you're not going to have fear. So that's why they don't like me. They can't stand me. I don't give a dang. They can't stand me because they know I'm going to tell the truth and I'm not going to lie about anything. So The reality is that along this course, you know, with me trying to become this star or follow after my dreams while being homosexual, I believe that they try to groom me to become this big LGBTQ influencer, or this big dancer, this big singer, somebody who was in the entertainment industry that they can use as a puppet. That's it. Just to literally taint and to control and subvert the Most High's light that has always been in me. That's exactly what they've been trying to do. And you know, I went to that school, and it was like once I got to Hollywood, it was this cloud, this dark cloud that just fell upon me. I started wearing eyeliner, I started wearing nail polish, all black, had piercings, I was smoking cigarettes, I was experimenting with cocaine. That was the only actual drug that I've ever actually experimented with. Was never hooked on it. I can count as many times. Actually, I probably experimented with it was like 3 times. And it wasn't actually all in Hollywood, but literally it was within a lifespan. So a lifespan, I say, of maybe 4 to 8 years. Okay? So that I tried cocaine. And I thank the Most High, because I was never hooked on drugs. I never got hooked on drugs. I never was into it. You know, I was always like, no, the only thing I'm going to do is marijuana. So that was the only thing that the enemy had access to me, to control me, is through marijuana, through sex, which was the homosexuality, and alcohol. Now, I was never too much of a heavy drinker, you know what I mean? I wasn't just sitting around getting plastered just because, you know, the sun was rising. You know, it was literally just seldomly, and I was going out on weekends, you know, kind of drinking with friends and stuff like that. So, you know, it never lasted. Thank you, the Most High. And, you know, this whole cloud was upon me, you know, this dark force. And that's where I met my handler at the time, the recruiter, which was this Russian girl. And she appealed to me, very demure, very nice, very soft-spoken. You know, she was very beautiful. And I didn't know at the time, you know, I wasn't equipped with what I know now then, you know, so that's why the enemy had access to me. And back then, I would believe anything that anybody told me. And I used to do a lot of research, you know what I mean? And just based off of the research that I would actually read, I still would believe it. And that's what, and that's what was so sad, because I was trained since I was a kid to do that. You see what I mean? To be submissive to the enemy, because the enemy was literally controlling me. And the enemy had access to me. So that's what people need to understand. So you wonder why a lot of people, and I'm just going to unabridge from this, and I'm going to jump right back into it, but I just want you to understand this. But you wonder why a lot of people can't shake a lot of these spirits and demons off of them and these habits, you know, because the reality is that the enemy, you have literally nurtured this spirit within you to continue to need and entreat these things that are wicked. So what the enemy knows is that the enemy knows what you like, the enemy knows how you like it, so the enemy is going to continue to give you those things, because the enemy knows what's going to make you feel good, just so it can have access to you. That's why it's so hard to shake a lot of spirits. And homosexuality is one of the strongest spirits, and I want people to understand that. Homosexuality is one of the strongest spirits that is very, very, very hard to shake. But I'm going to tell you this, even though it's hard to shake, it's nothing too hard for him to deliver you from. Know that. It's nothing too hard for him to deliver you from. So if you really truly, I know some of you out there suffering and y'all want to change. I know you do. I feel it. I know you want to change. But you're going to have to you're going to have to cut ties with everybody and ask the Most, and if you can't do it, you better get on your knees and ask the Most High to cut them ties with people, and He's going to do it for you. And if you're still one of those people who don't believe it, and you believe that you was actually born that way, which is a lie, from the pits of hell, then I dare you to get on your face, okay? And I dare you to call out. It don't matter if you don't know how to pray. All you got to do is something as simple as call out to the Most High and say, God, I don't know you. I want to know you. And if there's anything that I'm doing wrong in my life right now, especially this lifestyle of homosexuality, I ask you to please reveal it to me. I ask you to please reveal it to me. He's going to reveal it to you. I promise you. He's going to reveal it to you. If your heart is in it, your heart intention is in it. Now, you can't be one of those people who runs back to it after you didn't actually ask him to do it. Because the truth of the matter is, he's still going to show you it because he knows your heart's intention. So if he knows that you want to change, he's going to show it to you. But you got to believe it. Now, going back to my story. I met this girl. Like I said, she was the recruiter who became my handler. And how she reeled me in and warped me in was through spirituality, because they were already guiding me there, because there was a lot of MK Ultra and mind control that was already done on me ever since I was a kid. You see what I mean? They already trained me. You see that? They were already training me. So it was like it was certain subjects that I was already interested in, higher knowledge, higher spirituality, that type of stuff. So she already knew what to feed me to attract me, and that's what happened. She got me, and it was almost as if like literally I was wrapped around her finger, and I would have done anything for that girl. I would have probably even killed for her. Well, no, I wouldn't have killed for her. No, I'm going to be honest, I wouldn't have killed for the girl. But I would have most certainly fought for the girl. You know, I would have done anything. But obviously not anything, because the Most High wouldn't allow me to do it. So, you know, she started talking about, you know, how she was against the Illuminati. And this is the thing. I came into the knowledge of the Illuminati and the elite about this stuff when I was in high school. I touched the surface of it, but I didn't actually get into it until after high school, which is where my awakening really came. And this is why I'm telling people that I know for certain that I'm a prophet, because the Most High was already showing me, giving me prophetic dreams, and I didn't understand it. See, and he was trying to wake me up then to get up out of this lifestyle and to draw near to him to repent. But I had a reprobate mind, okay? I had a reprobate mind, and I was being rebellious, and I wanted to do what I wanted to do and chase after this dream, because everybody had already groomed me for it, told me that that's exactly what I should be following, and I wanted to do it. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to do anything to try to get it and obtain it. That just wasn't never in me. You know, I wasn't going to sell my body or anything like that. Even though I was promiscuous, I was very selective with the people that I actually messed around with. And what I truly believe now with is that the people that I messed around with, they actually was Masons themselves. I know for certain that they were. These are people that they literally set up for me to literally sleep with. That's the reality. Because I wasn't going to sleep with anybody that I didn't have no type of spiritual connection to, or somebody that couldn't challenge what I already know, or that couldn't help me, you know, to elevate my knowledge at the time. And they knew that. They knew that. So the enemy knows us, trust me, but the Most High knows us better. But the enemy knows us too. Just know that. The enemy knows exactly what you like too. Knows your DNA as well. So she had me. You know what I mean? And that's how she reeled me in about the Illuminati and stuff like that, how she was such against it, which was a lie, because she was actually a part of it, and she was a witch. And the truth of the matter is that, you know, she was assigned to me to be my recruiter and to get me in. I didn't know at the time. I didn't know. I had no idea, which was so crazy. You know what I mean? And this is why I tell people, this is why I got to tell you that do not be fooled and do not be deceived, because I'm telling you, you can easily be tricked how I was. I was easily tricked into it. But that's because I fell for lack of knowledge. But I thank the Most High for literally bringing me up out of that, because it's some people that's in that right now, and they suffering. And I feel your pain. I feel your pain. And you want out so bad, but you can't, because you scared. You scared what they're going to do to you. You scared to die. You scared that they're gonna humiliate you. They gonna smear your image. They gonna release all your dirt. Trust me, I know they did it to me. They did it to me, and they still doing it to me. Right now, as we speak, they still doing it to me. But what does it gain a man? What does it profit a man to gain the whole wide world and lose his soul? Y'all should know that. But you don't want to give up that money. You don't want to give up that lifestyle. You don't want to give it up. Well, then guess what? All I say is, continue doing what you're doing. Continue doing what you're doing, because you're going to see it later. So, this girl, she tried to get me to marry her. Well, let me say this first, before I get into that. She ended up actually leaving the school, the conservatory school, because she was actually on a visa. She ended up actually leaving the school, because she had some debacle with I guess the chairman of the school. So she ended up leaving, and it was so interesting because I didn't even actually experience having suicidal thoughts until I met this girl. So I know now that she was already doing witchcraft on me, and the enemy was trying to get me to kill myself then. And I was 18 at the time. No, I was 20 at the time. I had turned 20 while I was there. So, because I graduated high school when I was 18, and I turned 19 that 1 year that I was out there, because I was only in Hollywood at that school for a year and a half. I didn't even actually get to finish the second semester. I finished one whole semester, but I didn't get to finish the second semester because I tried to commit suicide on campus in the dormitory. And this is why I want you guys to understand that it's a spirit. They don't call Los Angeles the city of angels for anything. What that is that it's the city of fallen angels. There is a spiritual portal here in Los Angeles, which is why you have mental health so it's increased, you know, and you got so many different people doing so many different things as it pertains to wickedness. It's because you got a lot of conjuring, you got a lot of sacrificing that's happening here, and there's spiritual portals that has been opened. I mean, if you don't know that by now, then know it, get it in your head and study it. But people who do know it, then you know. So I'm not saying anything new. This is nothing new. Everybody who knows what I'm talking about. It's a spiritual portal that's open, and that's definitely here. It's like I said, it's not called the City of Angels for nothing. So I tried to commit suicide on campus. I had to leave. They terminated my scholarship, everything that I had. Went back home to my mother's. And I still never left Hollywood, though. I was still dancing, still doing jobs, still doing gigs, still teaching dance, still, and here's the thing I want you guys to understand. Ever since grade school, this is why I'm telling you that they were grooming me for the industry. Ever since grade school, they were already grooming me to literally be a part of the entertainment industry. I was already doing dance. I already had a voice. I could already sing. I knew that I could sing. I wasn't calling myself a singer, but I knew that I can sing. I knew that God had given me a voice. You know, whether I sang every day or not, but I used to always sing, and I would always do it in private. You know, so I always knew that I had a voice, and I always knew that I was gifted. Now, throughout grade school, like I said, they were grooming me all the way up until high school to go to that school and to go to Hollywood, period. But what ended up happening was that obviously the Most High had a different plan. And that was a wake-up call for me to get up out of Hollywood when that first suicide attempt happened. The reason why I said first is because, of course, there was a few other ones, but they didn't last. The only reason why I say that I actually attempted it, you know, the first time is because the other times it was just thoughts of it. I wasn't actually doing it. It was just thoughts of it. I was contemplating it. So the other ones after it was just contemplation. It wasn't actual attempts. So let me not say that. It was just only one attempt. And that was the last attempt. And I got to tell you, when I woke up in the hospital, this is why I want you guys to really listen, because they put a demon in me at that time. They literally put a demon in me at that time. And the reason why I know for certain that they did was because when I woke up in the hospital, okay, before I opened my eyes, I saw a flush of demons. And they were holding a chain, silver chain, and it was this moon bow, this crescent that was curved. And it was a sword. And they were swaying like this, back and forth. And then I opened my eyes. And guess who's sitting on the side of me, rubbing my temple? Yeah, the Russian chick, who was the handler, of course. So, you know, after that, I ended up going into an institution, stayed there for about 2 weeks. I was in there with Charlie Wilson's son, you know, and there was a few other people, you know, but I don't really want to get into that. It doesn't really even matter. But I got out, still went back to Hollywood, still was wearing the black stuff and all of that. Still was doing shows. Nothing major. That's just the reality. Nothing major. You know what I mean? I never did anything major. Like I never performed for a major artist. It was always for somebody that was up and coming. And it was so crazy because what's so crazy about it is that one artist that I did perform for, she was Middle Eastern. Her name was Hoda Saad. And I did that video, and my teacher in high school actually set me up with that, along with this other chick who was actually my friend. She was my friend. Yeah, she was my friend. I can't say that she's my friend now because she's on the other side. When she sold me out, and you know, at the time, you know, she became my dance partner too. We always was doing you know, booking jobs together and stuff like that. And like I said, I never did anything major. It was always local stuff. You know, I worked at a dance studio. You know, I worked at a few schools, primarily actually the school that I went to, the high school, teaching, you know, dance for free. I did that for free. You know what I mean? Stretching, stuff like that. Just little stuff. So it was nothing major. So, you know, I never sold out. I never sold out. And they knew that. That's what they were trying to get me to do. And like I said, when I woke up in the hospital, she's there rubbing my temple. Went back to Hollywood, still trying to, me and her still was dance partners. And she tried to get me to actually marry her because she was going to get deported. Now, how she got me, how she got the marriage license, I don't know how she did that, pulled that off. Of course, she got people who were higher ups. And I want you to keep in mind that this girl was a witch, and she was a high-ranking prostitute. And I'm not doing this to slut shame her, but I know for certain that she was a high-ranking prostitute. And I believe that they they wanted me to be a high-end male prostitute as well. But I just didn't do it. See, and the thing is that even though I was permitted, that doesn't negate the fact that I was out there sleeping with whoever I wanted to sleep with. But the truth of the matter is that it was a limit that I was going to do. You see what I mean? So I was only going to allow, you know, certain people into my world. You know what I mean? And it was very selective people that I matched with on a mental and I guess you can say a spiritual level, but that wasn't really spiritual. You know what I mean? It's just you basking in the ambiance of wickedness, them having the spirit and you having the spirit. So spirit knowing spirit, like game knows game, that type of thing. So the reality is that I was promiscuous, but I wasn't that type of person who was going to sell my body. I wasn't that type of person who was going to sleep with you because I wanted to, get some photos, or I wanted to become this big star? No, they knew that wasn't it, but that's why they sent her there, and that spirit that she had upon her. And you know, I met a few celebrities. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna say I met a lot of people, but I met a few. You know, I met a few of them, and I met a few that was actually. I met a few of them before they were actually big stars now. So you know, that's just it. But I don't care about none of that. Because they just normal people to me. They normal people to me. Well, normal people. That's it. So, you know, I don't know how she pulled off the marriage license thing, but like I said, she has connections. She's a part of the elite. So she got the marriage license, and the whole time though, we were supposed to be gearing up for the immigration. So, and we were never romantically involved at all. It was just literally a platonic business relationship. That's it. She was the dance partner who was supposed to literally, well, she had an assignment, so she was just what I thought was just my friend and my dance partner. But she had an assignment, and her assignment was to literally just make sure that I get recruited in. And she tried to schedule us to do shows with Masons. When you was already telling me that you was already against, and you know who you are. You know who you are. And I forgave you. I forgive all of y'all. I forgave all of y'all. But you know who you are. You know exactly who you are. And I hope you're watching this video. You know exactly who you are. I'm not going to say your name because I'm not like that. But I can do that. But I'm not like that. So the reality is that, you know, she tried to get me to go through immigration with her. My family was actually telling me not to do it. And, you know, I was on the fence about it too. And obviously that was the Most High trying to tell me then, break away. Break away. He was trying to already clean up these people out of my life. And I still wanted to be connected to them. But I'm going to tell you how the Most High works. How good He is. Because in the end, I never went through with the immigration. Yeah, we got the marriage license. But I have the divorce papers now in my possessions that she paid for. Absolutely. And she don't have a copy of it. But I do. And you still not getting a copy of it. So that tie is already cut. That covenant that we had with one another is cut already. With the divorce and because the Most High cut it. Okay? The Most High cut it already. So, you know, she got mad, flipped out, said she can never trust me again, blah, 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 this and that. I betrayed her, all this and that. Then she tried to get me to do it again. And it just didn't work. I couldn't do it. I let her know, you know, on Facebook, I sent her a long, thorough message saying, I can't do that. I can't do it. Because the reality is that I will go to jail for a federal crime, and all you get is just a deportation stamp. And you'll still be walking around doing whatever you want to do. No. So that's how the Most High ended that relationship. But here's the thing. She wasn't gone completely. Because she ended up she turned up again later on in life. Okay? And I think actually this was in 2017 or 16. Between 16 and 17 is actually when she popped up, which is very serendipitous because the reality is that is when my targeting really started then. I didn't know, but that's when it really started because by that point, well, I'm going to get into that in a minute. She gave me literally this crystal. It was a crystal because I was literally into, by that, I had already, let me just go back for a little bit. After I had cut the ties with her, we had stopped doing business. In the midst of all that, I had already got stripped down. I stripped down my the black stuff, the nail polish, the eyeliner. I got rid of all that, the platform boots, and I threw it away because literally the Most High, like I said, between 2010 and 2015, He was already giving me prophetic dreams, and that was literally about the end times. He was showing me dreams about martial law. He was showing me dreams about how the world's going to end and how His wrath is coming. I mean, some scary stuff, but I still wasn't. It wasn't registering in my head because the enemy was still had tainted my spirit and had control over me. So I wasn't getting it. I wasn't getting it. And what ended up happening was that I got rid of all the black stuff. I had a dream, and it was the most freakish dream that I ever had, and it scared me. And that is one of the reasons why I threw it away, all the black stuff. But here's the thing. Here's how the enemy works. Even though I threw away all that black stuff, and I stopped listening to the goth music and all that other type of stuff, which I believe really escalated the suicide attempt, and that allowed the enemy to have more access to me, to try to get me to actually kill myself then, because he knew that this moment will come. But it didn't happen, did it? Ha! You mad, ain't you? Anyways, I got rid of all the black stuff. In the dream, I'm going to just explain it. It happened in this house. It was dark, obviously. And there's a window that goes upstairs that's sitting parallel to the hallway upstairs. There's a window. And what happened is the moonlight was shining through the window, and it was it was casting on the staircase. So like I said, the light was casting on the staircase, and I didn't go up the stairs, but what I saw was that the window that was casting the light is shattered, and crows started flying out. I mean, flying in the house. And then it jumped to me actually getting up and going to the front door. Excuse me. Going to the front door. And it was like this force. It had control over me. And I couldn't move, and I tried to open the door, and I finally grabbed it, opened it, and I tried to speak and call out and say, help me. Like, I know that was what I was trying to do. Help me. And literally the door just slammed on its own, closed shut. And I woke up. And that mess scared the crap out of me. It scared the crap out of me. And that was the spirit of death that was already literally upon me. So, I got rid of all the black stuff, like I said. And this is how the enemy works. Even though I got rid of all the black stuff, that don't mean that the mind-controlling tactics and the MK Ultra and all the training and stuff like that, and the grooming that they did to me as a kid, didn't end. Because they got me through the higher spirituality stuff. And this is what I want people to pay attention with. All these people who's coming into the Kemet, you finding out that the Egyptians were black and stuff like that. That's cool knowledge. Cool knowledge. Black power, this and that. You figuring out that, black people pretty much were, they were the pioneers for everything that you kind of see now. That was in terms of inventions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They got it from somebody. So I know a lot of people are coming into that knowledge, but I want you to pay attention to this. All that spirituality stuff, that high spirituality, the duality, good and evil, good karmic flow, as above, so below, esoteric, Buddhism, chanting, meditation, all of that. It is witchcraft. And you can't tell me that it ain't, because I practiced it. Okay? I did. And that's how the enemy tried to get me. So the enemy couldn't get me by way of wearing all that black stuff and demonic stuff, okay? And then the enemy was still, and I still was connected to homosexuality. So the enemy still had access to me. So you need to understand that. The enemy still had access to me because I was still doing homosexual stuff. Okay? And what's so interesting is that throughout my life, I always knew that I was always convicted about the stuff that I was doing. You know what I mean? And I didn't like it, and only the real people who truly want to change and come up out of that lifestyle, that's the Most High trying to call you out of it. Literally, truth be told, when you get convicted about that, that's the Most High trying to call you up out of that lifestyle. If you feeling like, something ain't right, I'm just not connected to it, because I never was connected to the LGBTQ. Even when I was sitting around there walking around proud to be homosexual, I still wasn't connected to the LGBTQ. For some reason, I couldn't get down with it, because I still knew who God was. Because remember, my mom had taught me about who God was. So I knew who God was, and I knew that a seed like that was already planted in me to know that was a sin. And despite what I wanted to believe and what I wanted to do, it still was wrong, and I still was convicted. So I believe that the Most High was always trying to wake me up and try to pull me up out of that lifestyle. And, like I said, going back to the spirituality stuff, I started buying crystals and stuff. And this kind of just happened rapidly. It was just almost as if like a force took over me and made me start doing, like, digging into that spirituality stuff. And I know it's because it's in my DNA, because of where I come from, and because of all the grooming and the mind control and MK Ultra that they did on me as a child. They were already literally preparing me for that. So the enemy was preparing me from any possible angle that the enemy can get me at. Okay, well, if I can't get you to worship Satan, then I'm going to trick you into worshiping Satan through this so-called higher knowledge, higher consciousness, higher spirituality, black power stuff, you know, Kemet, Egyptology, Buddhism, you know, all that stuff, all of that, you know, and I did it, but I didn't know what I was doing. You know what I mean? I was misled. I totally was, and I'm going to be honest. I was misled. But what people need to understand is that is witchcraft. That is witchcraft. Anytime you're using crystals, using stones, you worshiping the sun, you worshiping the stars, you worshiping the moon. Anything that is going outside of worshiping worshiping the Creator who created all and everything that we see, and some of the things that are unseen. All those things is witchcraft. Okay? It's witchcraft, okay? So I had to keep pausing this because I don't want no distractions. The enemy's trying to distract me at any possible way, so that's why I keep pausing it. So the reality is like I said, it's witchcraft. And I was heavily doing it. I was doing yoga. All that stuff is witchcraft, because all those poses that you're doing is actual poses that they used to do. It's poses that they actually used to do. And it's them literally getting ready to receive, and it's channeling, getting ready to receive spirits and downloads from those spirits. And what people need to understand is that you will get this knowledge if you read the book of Enoch, but you'll get it also if you just read the Bible too, period, point blank. You'll get it, because if you really sit up there and read it, you will understand exactly how all this started. But the book of Enoch really goes into detail about how actually the spirits, the fallen angels, came about and their spawns. So everybody, we know that, right? People who know, you know, and people who don't know, then you need to go and figure it out and go and do some research. And like I said, I'll put a few references in the description, just so you can go ahead and do a little bit of research on your own, just to let you know exactly what I was reading. And I knew about all this stuff a long time ago, and they were already, like I said, grooming me for this. So they were already, you know, making sure that I was studying aliens, you know, fallen angels and stuff like that. They were already making sure that I was literally making sure that I was studying that type of stuff and keeping my mind focused on that. Just higher knowledge and spirituality, period. So they already knew exactly what they were trying to prepare me for. So what I tell you is that how I stopped, because I know some of you are wondering, okay, well, how did you change? What changed you? Of course, being the Most High, but I got afflicted. The targeting started. And it happened out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And anybody who is targeted knows that it happens out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And we already know that we already been watched and monitored ever since we were kids. They know who we are since birth. You know what I mean? They know. You know, but I really believe that the reason why the enemy doesn't let you know, or I guess you can say the Most High won't allow the enemy to afflict you unless it's time for the Most High to wake you up and get you to repent and get you to obey, because he wants to use you for his purpose. And he has a divine destiny for his purpose. Not for your purpose, but for his purpose. So I got afflicted. Went to take care of my grandmother, you know, back in 2016. My aunt had passed away. And she was the only one, actually she was the last child who had passed away. And what's so interesting about this is that everybody on my dad's side, all of my grandparents' kids on my dad's side, they all died. Literally my grandparents outlived all of their kids. That should tell you something right then and there, that they were cursed. Okay? Yeah, so, like I said, I know I got to keep on saying it, but anytime that the video like glitches or cuts, it's only because I have to pause it, because it's distractions around it. I want to get it all out. You know what I mean? I just want to get it all out with no distractions, okay? So I'm not doing anything crazy or anything. Like, you know, people out there are going to have a field day with that. But, yeah, like I said, all of their kids died. All their kids died. So that should already let you know that they're cursed. Right then and there. And I lost my father when I was 16 years old. And, you know, that shook me to the core because, and it had a lot to do with how I went on to actually live my life as well. And of course, because he was not really prevalent in my life as much as I wanted him to be, but you know, that kind of shook me to the core because it was just like, man, all of the essence of what I knew of you was all too little. It wasn't enough, and now you're gone. You know, but you know, I thank the Most High that He gave me healing. I forgave him. I'm over all of that. But like I said, I went to go move with them and to be of aid to them, to my grandmother, because my aunt, she was the last child, and she had died. And she was actually helping to take care of my grandmother at the time, along with my cousin, who was my first cousin, which was my aunt's, the one who died, son. And what ended up happening was that I moved in with her, and I took care of her. And at first it was very rocky, you know. And this is the time where they was already downloading information into my head, and they were trying to get me to do the spiritual, get involved in higher knowledge, higher spirituality, calling upon the ancestors, all of that crap. And I was doing a lot of yoga, you know. I had changed my diet to become a vegetarian, and then I ended up becoming a vegan after that. And it was just really rocky. And it's so interesting because the Most High has always given me the spirit of discernment. And I know it's been Him protecting me the whole entire time, because I was doing a lot of stuff, and I was in some places, just, you know, in LA, just hanging out with friends, just to be hanging out, just because, you know, just being in a parked car, smoking weed and drinking, and you know, listening to music on, you know, in a really bad neighborhood, you know. And anybody could have came up to us and shot us, or anybody could have came up to us and did anything. The police could have done that. And any time that I've had a run-in with the police and stuff like that has happened, the Most High has always delivered me out of it. So it was really tough the first 6 months into taking care of my grandmother, because, you know, I was so disconnected from them, you know. And I lived with them as a kid, which is why my grandfather had access to actually sell us off to the Masons, his brotherhood, and let them do whatever the heck they wanted to do with us. Because my mom was on drugs at the time, and she didn't want to actually take care of us. She could have, but she didn't want to, because she wanted to do her own thing. And my aunt took us in, and then from that point we went to my grandmother's house, my grandmother and my grandfather. Now, even though they've been separated, they were still married. And that's something to keep in mind too, that last name. And you know, it was, like I said, it was hard the first 6 months, and I didn't understand why, and now I know why, because the Most High has revealed it to me. And this was in 2016, like I said, when my targeting actually really started. But I didn't recognize it. I didn't recognize it. I was still clueless about it. Didn't know what was going on. But something in my spirit wasn't sitting right with me. I just knew something was wrong that was going around this house. In this house, something was wrong. My grandmother's house. And just with the whole thing. What my cousin was doing, what the whole in-home support worker was doing. And she actually wasn't a live-in caregiver. She was just actually on call. Well, no, she wasn't on call. She was actually supposed to come scheduled throughout Monday through Thursday, and just to come specific times and to do specific duties that my grandmother wanted her to do, because other things like cooking and things like that, she wanted family to do, and prescribing her medication and administering her insulin. she only wanted family to do, which I actually did. I had to learn how to give her the insulin shots. I learned that. I had to learn how to distribute and balance the medication to give to her. I cooked for her breakfast, lunch, and dinner. I went and did all the shopping. Uh, I I assisted her with her doctor appointments. And, you know, I just was trying to be that rock because I knew that she didn't have any more of her kids, you know, and all she had was her grandkids. That's all she had left of her children was their seed. So I tried my best. Now remember, I said I tried my best. Okay? It was rocky. You know what I mean? And I said some things, you know what I mean, that I have repented for. You know what I mean? I said some things that I have repented for that I shouldn't have said, but you're going to understand exactly why a lot of those things were said. Now, I'm not saying that there was an excuse for me to say that because that was just the bottom line. It wasn't an excuse for me to say half the stuff that I was saying. Now, I wasn't cussing my grandmother out and doing anything like that, but I was sure enough trying to get her to understand that something wasn't right with her grandson, which was my cousin, my first cousin. And the reason why they held, my grandfather and my grandmother held him at such a high standard and regard and put him on a pedestal was because my mom took us away from them. Even though we knew where they lived, it was just kind of like, you know, we just kind of grew apart from them. So we didn't grow to actually remain, keep in contact with them. Even though my grandfather still kept in contact with us here and there, he would still come and get us, stuff like that. You know, he would come for birthdays, you know, holidays, stuff like that. And it would be very seldom. The visits got very, you know, seldom. So my mom, you know, I'm not blaming that entirely on her. It's just that we just grew apart. And, you know, I wanted to reconnect with them. So already going into it, they had already had this knowledge, or they already had these preconceived notions that I probably was this low life who didn't want to do anything, who didn't have any morale or, you know, any knowledge or, you know, sense in his head. And I was just gonna use and abuse her and steal from her. That's literally what they thought. And lo and behold, they were mistaken because I came in there and I was treating her like a queen. I was. And truth be told, I treated her better than my actual cousin did. And I hope he's watching this video because you treated her, in the end, you treated her like a dog because you gave her up to them demon gods. I'm going to get to that. So yeah, it was a lot of crazy stuff that was happening. And I just didn't understand why. I left twice, came back, and the third time they wanted me to actually leave because at that point, you know, the enemy had caused so much strife between us to the point where I literally didn't want to do anything. You know what I mean? And I shouldn't have done that. That's why I repented for it. I shouldn't have done it. You know what I mean? So they was ready to get rid of me already because here's the thing. They already knew. The enemy already had a plan in motion before I even came. They had a plan in motion. That's why they bumped off my aunt. Okay? They bumped her off. They bumped off my grandfather, and then they bumped off my grandmother. Absolutely, they sacrificed them so that my cousin can move up to a higher ranking. And the truth be told is that he wanted the inheritance, even though he actually wasn't. He was going to get it. He was going to get some of it, but it wasn't all supposed to go to you. Come on now. And you don't have the actual last name, which doesn't mean anything, but he doesn't actually have the last name. Me and my twin brother are the only two ones that have the last name, and that's something to keep in mind too. So this is something that's strategic, that was strategically done. Strategically. So he didn't have the last name. And this is the thing. I didn't understand what was going on until the Most High started revealing to me everything. So I was like, okay, cool. You want to fight for this inheritance? We're gonna fight. And I gotta be real and be see-through. I was thinking about being greedy because I was like, no, I'm not about to let him have this. So my grandfather died. What he did was after he passed away, probed open the safe, took the insurance policies, took the living trust, the will, and everything else that was valuable to my grandfather that he owned, and fled and went back to Oregon because that's where he was going. He was going to Oregon State at the time. Never said anything. So if you didn't have anything to hide, how come you didn't actually do a bequeath ceremony the way it was supposed to happen, letting everybody know exactly what was left? If you would have just literally set everybody down and said, okay, we're going to have a bequeath ceremony, and I'm going to let you know exactly what was left. And I'm going to let you know, here are the documents stating that I'm the successor in the power, and have become the successor as well as the power of attorney over the estate, and you guys have been written out. I would have threw my hands up and said, okay, great. But it took you a whole year just to try to make contact with me. It took you a whole entire year. You would not actually allow me to see that trust. You would not allow me to see it. And we already know why you didn't allow it. Because y'all was already doing fraudulent stuff. You were already doing fraudulent stuff. And it just wasn't him. He had people helping him, absolutely, because he ain't that smart. He's not that bright. I don't care about you going to Oregon State, because anybody who has a mind, anytime you getting used like that, the way you got used and abused, boy, you tripping. You tripping. So your degree means nothing to me. So the reality is that he bumped off my grandmother, he bumped off my grandfather, bumped off his own mother, okay? Because in the end, they needed actually her name to be on the revised living trust that supposedly my grandfather revised, 2 months before he died? That don't even make sense. That don't even make sense. And then he leaves it, not only does he revive it, he revives it 2 months, or not 2 months, not only does he revive it 4 months before he dies, but he leaves it to his dead daughter, who died January 21st of 2016. And then he ends up dying October of 2016. Tell me something ain't strange about that. My grandmother dies the consecutive year in 2017. You moved her away, though, before you killed her, because you wanted to do that in peace. Or whatever that was, peace. You moved her away, cut off all contact and access that we had with her, moved her to hot Burbank, and you offed her. And you had that woman that was around her. You know who she was, the witch. Shame on you. Shame on you. And you better repent. That's all I know. And you're not going to repent because you love that money. And the sad thing about it is that he don't even have no family no more. Your whole family is basically dead now. Besides us, who is your first cousins, your blood relatives. So now, you done got all high and mighty. You done got all high and mighty to the point where you don't need us. That's fine. That's your family, though. That's your family. That's your family now. Absolutely. I'm still your family. I'm still your blood. Because we got the same DNA running through our blood. We do. Or at least half of it. So the reality is that I still love you. Because you're still one of my kins. But I don't want to have nothing to do with you. Nothing. So, this is where the targeting actually really started. Was when I was about to seek litigation against them. And I gathered all the documents, which I still have, but it doesn't even matter because the reality is that I already gave it up. And if you guys don't know by now, you know, there's scripture, and I'm going to find it. I'm going to find it. But you can Google it. I know you can. You can literally Google it. There's scripture where the Most High talks about actually going to court systems to try to file against people and all that other type of stuff. Because you have to understand, vengeance is mine, thus saith the Most High. Period. Period. So, and I had to find that out. Even though I was so adamant about trying to pursue it, because I already found out that literally what they had done in terms of fraudulent stuff, falsifying documents, you know, signatures, and it was all undue influence. All undue influence. And I had to figure that out. But I could not get an actual lawyer to take on the case, obviously, because